Okay, I'm not sure what day I'm actually gonna get to this, but I might as well just film the intro ahead of time. This is essentially gonna be my finish or fail series, as the Golden Witch once did. I'm not gonna rip her title just because I want to at least try to be original. Who knows what the fuck I'm gonna call this, but in any case, this is all the stuff left from the spring season I still have left to watch. As you can see, I've got my whole list of stuff that I've finished from this year already. So I post this on Twitter a lot, but this is my general rankings so far. And I'm just going to go down this list. This is just a general whatever order that I thought would be okay. Not sure if I'm going to watch Hathaway's Flash, because it's, or at least not watch it yet, because I do want to rewatch Char's Counterattack, and also Hathaway's Flash is a film trilogy, so I might as well just wait for the other two to be done. But yeah, let's jump into it. We're gonna try and finish up Nagatoro-san.
Okay, so I pretty much was not paying attention at all by the time I got to episode like 5 or something, so I think I'm done with this one. It's not an awful show. If I were to finish it, it'd probably be like a strong 5, maybe a light 6, but I just am struggling to pay attention. It's not like I dislike the content. Like, I'm like caught up on the manga that's been released in the States so far. So I like the manga. It's just the anime's not really holding my attention. I think I'm finally starting to understand something that the Golden Witch once said when she was talking about working, or Wagnaria as it's localized as for some reason. But like, she would say that like the anime adaptation would like add in extra steps that ruin the punchline. I don't think Nagatoro necessarily does that, but the delivery is so much slower than it is in the manga that it kind of ruins the pacing of it. Maybe it's just because I've read it all, and I did read it recently, so maybe that's what I'm comparing it to, but the anime just feels a little slow in comparison. And it's not even a bad looking show. Well, I'll qualify that. It's definitely one of the better animated of these kinds of mild romance or school comedies with mild romance elements where the main appeal is the sole defining characteristic of the main girl. That's what I'm going to call this subgenre. So stuff like Nagatoro, Takagi-san, Uzaki-chan, stuff like that. But yeah, I would say Nagatoro is the best animated of these. I wouldn't say it's the best looking, because there's the art direction I think is fucking awful at times. Like, there was this one shot, I think in episode, it was either episode 2 or the end of episode 2 or 3, where there's like a sunset scene. I think it was episode 2, but he's like walking around, and it's got like this very like pink and purple aesthetic to it, and it just looks fucking garish when compared to like the brown and orange of the actual scenery. So I wouldn't say it's the best looking of these kinds of shows. I think Takagi-san might be that, although when Komi-san eventually comes out, I would say that'll definitely be probably be the better looking show, because OLM. But yeah, bored with Nagatoro. Let's move on.
Alright, we're gonna take Nagatoro off the list. Next is Shadow's House. This one of the new Cloverworks shows. Cloverworks been real hit and miss this year, so we'll see how it goes.
Well, damn, that was pretty fucking fun and very entertaining. So I was definitely a bit surprised by this show. I had a general idea of what it was going to be about, because I'd seen the first episode already, and it's like a rich people are evil kind of thing, which I'm totally into. But I am both excited and a little disappointed by the lengths that it goes to in that regard. Like, it really leans into like the just the self-satisfactory and just self-indulgent nature that a rich lifestyle provides you without actually saying like these people are like obviously they're rich, they live in a fucking mansion, but it like doesn't really talk about money in a concrete way. It's mostly just like these are rich people, you get it. And it really leans into that, especially. I'm trying to decide whether I want these vlogs to be spoiler free or not. I'm gonna go ahead and say that they're not, just so that I don't have to worry about what I talk about. So, if you're curious as to whether to check these shows out or not, well, Shadow House I definitely recommend. So if you don't want any spoilers, go fucking watch it. I'll put some time codes in the description for different shows that I talk about. But yeah, like they're fucking brainwashing children. There's the big plot twist about how uh the living dolls, which are actually humans, eventually merge with their shadow hosts. Like that, I really love this idea of how that they're playing with, of how the servants are totally subservient to their masters and have to give their entire lives to their work. Sound familiar? At the same time, though, I don't think it doesn't really arrive at a proper idea on what's to be done with that. Now, again, that's partly because this is an ongoing manga. I believe it runs in Young Jump, so this is only adapted a little bit of it. Nice. So I'm very interested in. I would definitely like a second season of this, or I would like the manga to be licensed by someone. Again, Young Jumps. I guess it would be Viz Media would get first dibs on this. I haven't heard any talks about it getting a manga release, so hopefully it does at some point. But yeah, I think it could go a little farther with its messaging, but again, that'll be for later. But another thing this is gonna be a weird thing to talk about, but I posted this on Twitter. This is a very Tumblr core kind of show as well. Let me explain what I mean before you ride off into the sunset without watching the show, because I understand the connotation of that, but let me explain. This show has the details of this show have the makings of something that would have exploded on Tumblr in like 2013 or 2012. It's got a Victorian setting, or more of an Edwardian setting, I guess you could say. Actually, I don't really know, because there's no I don't see any electricity, so I guess it would be more Victorian than Edwardian. In any case, it's got that 19th century English feel to it. So there's a lot of really great costume design. A lot of the characters are extremely self-absorbed and have really boisterous personalities. So similar in some ways to like Sherlock from Sherlock and the Doctor from Doctor Who, specifically the 10th Doctor. No, not the 10th, the 11th Doctor, the Matt Smith one. But they're the anime versions of that, so more tolerable. Shocking, I know. There's a huge cast of different characters. There's a lot of headcanon on romance. There is one in like just outright canon romantic interest that is in the series. I like John just completely falls head over heels for Kate. Also, very Tumblr core names, because they're just plain English names. John, Kate, Patrick, Sean. Just very normal names. So that, like, they're not anime names. Let's put it that way. they feel a bit self-insert at time. They could give the impression of self-insert. So if you're into, but what was I talking about? Oh yeah, there's a lot of room for a head canon. There's a lot of romance baiting going on in this series. So if that is your core, if you are Tumblr core, this show is absolutely for you. Especially because it's so fucking gorgeous to look at, too. This is fucking phenomenal to look at. I don't think there was really any moments where I saw a frame that looked bad or even less than average. The last episode in particular, there were some really fucking stellar action cuts, and the light work and the color design is so fucking good. The fact that so many of the characters are just complete silhouettes with cool costumes on kind of forces the anime to think more creatively about how it shoots certain shots or how it colors certain frames and how different stuff is presented. It's so, man, I really like this show. But yeah. And the OP, the OP's okay. The ED is a fucking banger. Love that shit. So on the technical end, it's very impressive too. I don't want this to just be a general review, so I'm just gonna keep rambling about whatever the fuck I want to talk about. The question is, do I have anything else I want to talk about? But I guess I could just use this as a vehicle to just keep an auditory log of how I feel about different shows. Yeah, let's just go with that. But yeah, character-wise, really enjoyed the characters. And Miliko is just absolute ball of sunshine, but she isn't like 100% Genki girl all the time. There are some moments where she definitely has her own breaks as well. And I thought the tone of the show, for even like it for a while, it like teases darkness but never really completely goes through with it. And I thought for sure it was just gonna be doing that the whole way, but there is a point where it just becomes where they just go in and actually kill off a character. So that was a very heart-wrenching moment for me at the end of the debut test where they didn't all make it. That was very heartbreaking, and it's poor Rum and poor Shirley. I don't know if... No, I'm not going to say that. That's going to get me in trouble. But, yeah, just a really fucking solid show. Is there anything else I want to say about this? Just a lot. So many of my thoughts are this sort of like, let's be honest. A lot of us are in a eat the rich kind of mentality right now. So this show is definitely sitting at the forefront of my mind in that regard. But I really like the details of it. In that, like the idea that all of the shadow house people, all of the shadows, like refer to themselves in the third person, which normally in anime that's sort of used as like a gimmick for a character to show that to say like they're kind of childish or whatnot. But in this show, it seems very like all of the shadow characters are doing it. So, and it's only the living doll characters that refer to themselves with like pronouns like I and stuff. So, and that sort of feeds into the idea that these characters are sort of trapped in this system that they've created for themselves, where they really aren't. Well, on a narrative level, it makes sense as well, because they're really not people yet. And until they merge with their living doll, they don't have a face. Sorry, it's like 11:30 when I'm recording this, so I'm a bit tired. And I just binged a bunch of anime, but God, that was so good. Um, but yeah, I like that idea of not being able to possess yourself. I mean, instead, they're in possession of someone else's lives, and so like I love that. Like the idea of they can't. There was a particular part where it's like you can't damage a living doll can't have their face harmed because it's a reflection. It's supposed to be the shadow person's face. That's what they're supposed to look like. But and so I like that idea that like not even their own the living dolls, not even their own bodies are their own possessions. They solely belong to their shadow masters. Which also turns into a great twist later when John just punches Sean, and John, the shadow person, punches Sean, his living doll, right in the fucking face because he's so distraught with him being brainwashed by Grandpa's semen. I'm sorry, I had to make that joke. Like they say that like the grandfather's soot is what brainwashes people. I'm like, okay, so they're drinking Grandpa's semen. Okay. I just had to get that joke in there. I do have a couple complaints about that particular moment. Like some people, like with Emilico, her brainwashing is like this very upsetting scene where like, and it's established that the soot is weak to water, and so there's this like very upsetting scene where Kate forces Emilico to drink a bunch of water, and she throws up several times just to get the brainwashing soot out of her system. And I was like, well, damn, that was upsetting. And then when with John and Sean, it's John just punches him a bunch and like uses his words to draw him back. I'm like, okay, it's still a good scene, but it was a little less effective than the other one. And then with the other characters who had who were brainwashed and then they come back, it only took like a few words from their shadow masters to like bring them around. I'm like, okay, now you just gave up. You kind of just gave up. So that was a little like, okay, what the fuck. And there are several moments throughout the series where it just kind of just completely or not where it like gives up on completely explaining the narrative in favor of the idea, which I'm totally fine with to a certain extent. But those moments were definitely noted. Yeah, this was a good show. It's like it reminds me a lot of Decadence from last year, but whereas that one was like a huge like large scale systemic thing where it tried to look at the entire system and how capitalism corrupts society. This is much more of a small scale thing where the idea of nobility corrupts itself and it corrupts the people within it to the point where they'll do anything to maintain it, except for the people who actually are actually good-hearted people and want to break free from it. But so yeah, this also gets the taste of Moriarty season 2 out of my mouth because I did not like the ending of that. I thought it was super cheesy and did not fit with the rest of the series. In any case, yeah, let's go back to the list so I can rate this sucker.
Alright, let's take a look at the list here. Oh, I should probably explain this list. So just because I'm a fucking freak with organization, I color-coded everything by season. So blue is winter, pink is spring, green is summer, and then fall will be, what's the word? Orange is fall. And then we have the red is for stuff that's going to continue into next year, so I'm not going to bother with until then. But in any case, yeah, let's take a look at where we should rate Shadow House. It is definitely up here. I don't think it quite reached the 9 range. But I'm not quite sure. Horimiya and Mushoku Tensei were so long ago. Let's take a look at the master list. So I have this big old fucking master list of anime, and this is sort of what I use to judge my rankings. But if you see like I have these double asterisks, those are shows where it's like I haven't seen these in forever, and I have no idea where they would actually be on this list now. Sometimes they go up, sometimes they go down. So let's take a look at. So where is Horimiya on this list? Let's keep scrolling. Where the fuck is it? Is it that far down? I feel like I missed it. I definitely missed it. You've probably already seen it. There it is. So let's take a look at what's around Horimiya. Ooh, is it better than Metropolis? I like Horimiya more than Metropolis. I don't think Shadow House was better than Metropolis. Shiki makes a really good point of comparison. Just for the... Well, actually, no, it doesn't. I think it's just the aesthetic that kind of reminded me. This is a good one. I think I definitely like... I'm going to say I definitely like it more than Mushoku Tensei. Second season of Beastars rubbed me the wrong way a little bit, so it wasn't quite as good as the first season. Ooh, I hate when I have to say things are better than Comic Girls, but, you know, sometimes they are. Oh boy, I bet you're loving this part of the video. So, let's... Drifters. Drifters was fun, but also dumb. Yeah, it's somewhere in here. So, yeah, I think that's... Yeah, it's definitely not better than Durarara, I don't think. Although, that's another one that should have a double asterisk, because it's been so fucking long since I've seen that. But, yeah. Well, I think I've solidified where on this list it goes. So we're gonna take that, and we're gonna put you right there. So, where's my... It's hard to do with one hand. So, Shadow House, you're in the top 5 with a decent 8. I can't spell with one hand. So I'll figure. Well, fuck it. Let's figure out where to put it right now. You guys get to be part of the process of me. This just gives me a good chance to talk a little bit about some of the other stuff. Like I really love Pokemon Twilight Wings. It was such a good display, but they're also short, so they're a little on the insubstantial side. I think. I'm going to say it's better than Attack on Titan. Some of you are going to be angry. But yeah, just the general banter of this show was really good too, so I think it's definitely better than Nozaki-kun. Because it had some great... Shadow House had some great comedy elements too. I promise I'm going to make this part of the... these videos shorter next time. For the next show, but Shiki, I don't fucking remember anything about Shiki except the ending, which was really good. I'm gonna say under Shiki, so... Do I want it there? This is... See, this is also the problem with keeping a master list. Is like, it's great for organizing your thoughts, but also once it gets to be fucking hundreds of shows long, you really start to lose track of what you think about everything. So, I'm just gonna go ahead and... Nope, not quite that far up. I'm going to go ahead and say... you probably already have a lot of opinions about what I'm doing right now. But fuck. Eeny, meeny. Yeah, I'm gonna put it above Twilight Wings. So that takes care of Shadow House. I'm probably just going to cut that part out later for other stuff.